let's dive into this one. We're taking a look at Connie Riker's Smash the Patriarchy, a guide to feminist rebellion. And, well, I think the title kind of says it all.
Yeah, it's definitely not pulling any punches. What really hit me was how Connie just lays it all out there. You know, she weaves in these personal stories, and it just makes you realize how these systems really impact women's lives.
Yeah, and it's not just like some abstract theory or anything. She gets real about her own experiences.
Exactly.
Like right away, she jumps into this concept of the pink tax and like how much more we're expected to pay for the same stuff.
Oh, yeah. Just because it's pink or whatever, like razors.
Yeah, razors.
Yeah.
But it's not just razors.
Oh, no, it's everywhere.
It's like shampoo, it's clothes, it's even tampons.
Seriously, it adds up. Think about it. Over a woman's lifetime, we're talking thousands of dollars, maybe even hundreds of thousands.
It's crazy. It's like this hidden financial burden that we're just supposed to accept.
It impacts our ability to save, invest, build a future.
And Connie, she doesn't just throw out these statistics. She shares her own experience of finding out she was getting paid less than a male colleague.
For doing the same job.
Exactly. And it's that realization, that moment of like, wait, this system is rigged?
Totally. It's that gut punch. Like you're doing everything right, playing by the rules, and you're still getting screwed over.
It's infuriating.
And it shows that the wage gap isn't just some abstract concept. It has real consequences for women.
Limits our choices.
Yeah.
It keeps us trapped in this cycle of economic inequality.
Exactly.
And then she connects this back to the pink tax,
Yeah.
showing how these things are actually intertwined.
Yeah, it's all part of the system designed to keep women down.
It's like a double whammy.
Oh, absolutely. And it kind of leads into another major theme in the book, Connie's critique of the medicalization of women's bodies.
Oh, this section was intense. So much to unpack there. But Connie's basic argument is that this intense scrutiny on our bodies, especially our reproductive health, it's not really about our well-being, it's about control.
Yeah, she gives some pretty disturbing historical examples, like forced sterilization of women of color.
Oh, right.
Or how menstruation has been pathologized. It's like medical practices have been used to reinforce these patriarchal norms.
And to control women's autonomy.
Exactly.
And then she brings up the whole double standard around breast. Like a man's chest is just a chest.
Right.
But a woman's is like this constantly sexualized and policed thing.
It's like we're damned if we do, damned if we don't.
Exactly. She even shares this story about being shamed for breastfeeding in public.
Oh, yeah, that was powerful.
It really exposes the hypocrisy.
Society sexualizes women's breasts, but then punishes us for their natural function.
And it's not just about breastfeeding. Connie also critiques the whole beauty industry.
Oh, yeah, which is like a multi-billion-dollar industry.
And it profits off of women's insecurities.
Right.
It's like we're constantly being told we need to be thinner, prettier, more perfect.
And spend a ton of money to achieve that. It's this form of self-oppression that keeps us distracted and preoccupied with our looks.
Instead of focusing on more important things, like dismantling the patriarchy.
Exactly. So we've got the pink tax, the wage gap, the medicalization of our body. And we're just scratching the surface here.
Yeah, we haven't even touched on the #MeToo movement yet, which Connie also tackles head on.
That's a really interesting section. She acknowledges the power of the movement, giving a voice to survivors,
Right.
but she also points out its limitation.
Like, what do you mean?
Well, she argues that while holding individuals accountable is important, it doesn't address the systemic roots of sexual violence.
It's not enough to just take down a few bad apples. We need to uproot the whole damn tree.
Exactly. She sees the #MeToo movement as like a stepping stone towards a more radical transformation of society.
And that leads us to one of the most insidious forms of patriarchal control: the objectification of women in media and advertising.
Yeah. That's everywhere.
It's everywhere. And Connie does a brilliant job of dissecting how the male gaze
Yes.
shapes our perceptions of beauty and womanhood, reducing us to objects to be consumed.
And control.
Yeah, and it's not just the media that's to blame.
Right.
We're all implicated in this
In a way.
by passively consuming these images and internalizing these messages.
It's like this collective brain.
Totally. And Connie shares this really disturbing story about her own experience, feeling like an object during a photo shoot.
Oh, yeah. That was tough to read.
It really drives home how pervasive this objectification is.
And how even women who are considered attractive can be victims of this dehumanizing gaze.
It's not about beauty, it's about power.
Exactly. It's about control.
And this is just the tip of the iceberg. Connie goes on to explore how the patriarchy infiltrates every aspect of our lives, from religion to art to politics.
Yeah, it's everywhere. But what's so refreshing about Connie's approach is that she doesn't leave us feeling helpless.
Right.
She empowers us to fight back.
Yeah, she's got a whole arsenal of tools and strategies for smashing the patriarchy.
Exactly. And she encourages us to find what works for us, whether it's through activism, art, education.
Or just refusing to be silent when we see injustice.
She reminds us that we have more power than we realize.
Especially when we work together.
Yeah, collective action is key.
So buckle up, listeners. This deep dive is about to get even more intense as we explore Connie's call to action and all the ways we can dismantle the patriarchy brick by patriarchal brick.
I'm ready. Welcome back. We've been going deep into Connie Riker's Smash the Patriarchy. And in this section, Connie really dives into religion and how it can be used to control women.
Yeah, this chapter really got me thinking. You know, we're often told that religion is supposed to be this source of comfort and guidance.
Right.
But Connie challenges that. She makes you look at how religious doctrines have actually been used to limit women's autonomy.
Absolutely. She gives examples like purity culture, which basically puts the blame on women for men's sexual urges.
It's like we're always supposed to be the responsible ones, the ones who have to control ourselves.
Right. And then there are all these dress codes that often target women specifically.
Oh, yeah. Like we're supposed to cover up.
Exactly. Like our bodies are somehow shameful or tempting.
It's messed up.
It really is. But Connie encourages us to question these interpretations, to dig deeper into the actual texts, and to reclaim our own spiritual authority.
That's so important. We don't have to accept these patriarchal interpretations.
Exactly.
And this ties into Connie's broader point about women reclaiming our narrative in all areas of life. She even talks about how art has been used to both objectify and empower women.
Yeah, that was a fascinating chapter.
She goes all the way back to the Venus figurines, showing how women's bodies have been a source of inspiration for artists for centuries.
Right. But that inspiration has often been mixed with objectification.
Exactly. Like the male gaze.
Yeah.
Examples like those nude paintings from the Renaissance.
Yeah, those are definitely painted from a male perspective.
Totally. And she talks about how women have often been depicted as passive muses.
Or objects of desire.
Right.
Or symbols of purity or temptation.
It's like these portrayals have shaped our understanding of what it means to be a woman. And then there's the whole issue of representation. There's a glaring lack of women artists throughout history.
So we haven't had the chance to tell our own story.
Exactly.
But Connie doesn't just focus on the past, she also celebrates the work of contemporary female artists who are reclaiming their bodies and their narratives through their art.
Yeah, it's so inspiring to see women artists breaking through those barriers.
It gives me hope.
Man, too.
And this leads us to another crucial part of Connie's call to action, mantling those harmful beauty standards that are perpetuated by the media and social media.
Oh my God, don't even get me started on social media.
I know, right?
It's like a constant stream of filtered and photoshopped images.
It's impossible to escape.
And it makes us feel like we're not good enough.
Not thin enough, not pretty enough.
Exactly.
Connie really unpacks the psychological impact of these unrealistic standards.
Yeah, she talks about how they contribute to body image issues and eating disorders.
And just a general sense of inadequacy.
But she doesn't just leave us feeling hopeless.
No, she gives us tools to fight back.
Like what?
She tells us to unfollow those accounts that make us feel bad.
Good idea.
To curate our feeds with body-positive content. And to use social media as a platform to celebrate our own unique beauty.
That's so important. We need to change the narrative.
Exact. And that's where Connie's concept of radical self-love comes in.
Oh yeah, she talks a lot about that.
It's about embracing our body, flaws and all.
It's about loving ourselves for who we are.
Exact. It's about shifting the focus from external validation to internal acceptance.
And from seeking approval to reclaiming our own power.
Yes.
And that idea of reclaiming our power is really central to Connie's whole message.
It's about seeing ourselves not as victims,
but as agents of change.
Exact. And it's not just about individual empowerment, it's about collective action.
Right. She talks about the history of the feminist movement.
Yes.
From the suffragettes to the fight for reproductive rights.
And equal pay and an end to violence against women.
It's a long and ongoing struggle.
It is, but we're making progress. And Connie reminds us that the fight is far from over.
The patriarchy is a sneaky beast.
It really is. It's constantly adapting to maintain its power.
So we need to be vigilant. We need to be informed.
Absolutely.
And we need to be ready to challenge injustice wherever we see it.
And we don't have to do it alone.
Right. There's strength in numbers.
In sisterhood.
In collective action.
Connie's book is a call to action.
It's a roadmap for dismantling the patriarchy.
It gives us the tools and strategies we need
to challenge sexism in our daily lives.
In our workplaces.
And in the broader culture.
She encourages us to have those uncomfortable conversations.
To call out sexism.
And to amplify the voices of other women.
Even small acts of resistance can make a difference.
They really can. They create a ripple effect.
And inspire others to do the same.
Connie's book is a reminder that we're not alone in this fight.
And that, together, we can create a world where all women are free and equal.
That's the goal.
Absolutely.
And speaking of freedom and equality, Connie also tackles the issue of pornography.
Ooh, yeah, that's a tough one.
It is. It's a topic that often generates a lot of debate.
And Connie doesn't claim to have all the answers.
No, but she raises some important questions.
Like what?
Well, she talks about how pornography can perpetuate harmful stereotypes or contribute to a culture of objectification.
And she points out that most pornography is created by men for men.
Exactly. And it often presents a very distorted view of females,
Which can have a negative impact on women.
on our self-esteem, our body image.
Even on our relationships with our own body.
Absolutely. And then there's the potential for addiction and the easy access to pornography online, which can be especially harmful for young people.
It's a complex issue.
It really is.
Yeah.
But Connie encourages us to have open and honest conversations about it.
To talk about the role of pornography in our culture.
And in our lives.
And she emphasizes the importance of media literacy.
And critical thinking.
And the need for more diverse and ethical representations of sexuality in media.
I think that's key.
Me too.
Connie's discussion of pornography is a good example of how she approaches these difficult topics.
Yeah, she doesn't shy away from the tough question.
And she encourages us to do the same.
To think critically about the messages we're consuming.
And the systems we're participating in.
And how we can be agents of change.
It's about taking responsibility.
For ourselves and for the world around us.
Now, Connie doesn't just focus on the negative. She also celebrates the positive trend, the rise of body positivity, and the increasing representation of women in leadership roles.
It's good to see some progress.
It is. It shows that things are changing.
Even if it's slow.
Connie encourages us to celebrate these victories.
To draw strength from them.
And to use them as fuel to keep pushing for change.
We can't give up.
We can't. And this brings us to another important point. Connie's emphasis on the role of men in dismantling the patriarchy.
Yeah, she says that men have a crucial role to play.
Not as saviors,
Right.
but as allies and partners.
She challenges men to examine their own privilege.
To listen to women's experience.
And to use their voices to advocate for gender equality.
It's about working together.
Men and women.
To create a more just and equitable world.
And that's what makes Connie's book so inspiring.
It's not just about pointing out the problem.
It's about offering solution.
It gives us hope.
And it empowers us to be part of the solution.
Exactly.
Okay. So we're back for the final part of our deep dive into Smash the Patriarchy. We've talked about the problem, the big tax, the beauty standard, the whole shebang. But now let's get into what Connie wants us to actually do about it.
Yeah, the call to action.
Exactly.
And what I really like is that Connie doesn't give us like a one-size-fits-all solution.
Right, because everyone's different.
Yeah, she gets that. Smashing the patriarchy is going to take a lot of different approaches. We each have our own part to play.
So it's not about waiting for some big revolution or anything.
No, it's about taking action in our own lives right now.
Like everyday stuff.
Yeah, exactly. She says we got to find our own lane, you know?
Like what kind of stuff?
Well, it could be political activism, or maybe challenging sexism at work.
Okay, yeah.
Or supporting women-owned businesses. Even just having those tough conversations with friends and family.
Ones who aren't quite there yet.
Exactly.
So, like, even small things can make a difference.
Oh, absolutely. Even small acts of resistance can have a ripple effect.
I like that ripple effect.
Yeah, it can inspire other people to take action too.
Cool.
And Connie reminds us that we have more power than we think.
Especially when we work together.
Exact. Collective action is key.
And she also talks about the importance of supporting other women.
Oh yeah, big time.
Like mentoring and stuff.
It's about building a network of solidarity, lifting each other up.
Yeah, like a sisterhood.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Celebrating each other's success
Like that.
instead of tearing each other down.
Which can happen so easily.
Really can, especially in this competitive world.
But Connie's right. We're stronger together.
Absolutely.
And, you know, she also acknowledges that this fight can be draining.
Oh yeah, it takes a toll.
So she talks a lot about self-care.
Which is so important.
Like, we can't pour from an empty cup.
Right, we gotta take care of ourselves.
But we can keep fighting.
Exactly.
And she suggests things like meditation, spending time in nature, even just saying no to things that drain our energy.
Yeah, setting boundaries.
So we can show up as our best selves.
Exactly. Ready to take on the patriarchy.
And in the end, Connie reminds us that this isn't a quick fix.
Yeah, smashing the patriarchy is a journey.
Not a destination.
Right, it's gonna take time and effort.
And there will be setbacks.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Frustrating moments.
Times when it feels like we're not making any progress.
But we can't give up.
Exactly. Connie wants us to remember that we're a part of something bigger.
Like a historical movement.
Yeah, our actions matter, even the small ones.
Even when it doesn't feel like it.
Right, we're building a better future.
For ourselves and for all women.
That's what keeps me going.
Me too.
Yeah.
So there you have it, folks. Our deep dive into Connie Riker's Smash the Patriarchy.
It's a powerful book,
A call to action.
a roadmap for dismantling the patriarchy.
And a celebration of the power of women united.
If you're ready to join the rebellion, to challenge the status quo, and create a world where all women are free and equal,
You can find Smash the Patriarchy on Amazon Kindle and Google Play Books.
go check it out.
It's time to get to work.